They told you education is the key. They said, go to school. But why are so many graduates purposeless and jobless? On EduShift, we spot the cracks. We challenge the educational system. Torn between science, arts, and commerce, we bring clarity and answers to your questions, and we light up the path for a generation ready to stand out. Come enjoy discussions with educators, employers, and counselors. Let us fix this problem of career misalignment and help you discover yourself. EduShift, only on Global TV. Hello there and welcome to EduShift, where we help you shift towards education that aligns with purpose. I am your host, Priscilla Obasi, and today I want to take us on a journey, yes, a journey through time, a journey through the history of education in Nigeria. And I want to do this. If we don't fix what is broken today, we must first understand how we got here to be able to fix what is broken in our educational system. So that is why we're going on the journey. Education did not just begin with chalk and blackboard. It did not begin with missionary schools or colonial offices. It started long before that. It started in our villages, in our mosque, in our homes. Today, we walk through the 5 stages of education in Nigeria. The first stage was the indigenous education. Second was the Quranic education. Third was the missionary colonial education. The fourth stage was the post-independence reforms. And then the fifth, we had the struggles and opportunities of today. At the end, I'll ask you one question. How do we finally build an education system that aligns with purpose and not just on paper? So stay with me. It's going to be a powerful journey today. Yeah. So we will start with the first, which is the indigenous education. Now, before colonization, before Western influence, before certificates, in traditional Nigerian societies, education was woven into life itself. It was not something separate. It was practical. It was moral. It was communal. A boy learned farming by following his father to the farm. A girl learned home management by helping her mother in the kitchen. And young people learned values through folk tales, proverbs, riddles, initiation rites. Yes. It was an education without books, but with wisdom. It built character, it built responsibility and survival skills. Now think about it. Today, we debate whether schools should teach financial literacy, leadership, or moral instruction, but our forefathers had already integrated those lessons into everyday life. Education then was not about who topped the class. It was more about who contributed to the community. It had its weaknesses though, and one of the weaknesses was that it was limited. It did not teach advanced literacy. It didn't teach mathematics. Neither did it teach technology. But the strength of it was in its relevance. And relevance is something we're still chasing today. So here's my first question for you to reflect on. Do our schools of today still reflect our realities? Or have they become disconnected from the lives of the people they are meant to serve? Think about it. That will take us to the second educational phase, which was the Quranic / the Islamic education. Now let's move to the north. By the 11th century, Islam had spread across what is now northern Nigeria. With it came Quranic schools. Children sat on mats, holding wooden slates, reciting verses from the Quran. The goal was literacy in Arabic, moral discipline, and knowledge in Islamic law. For centuries, these schools produced judges before Western education. But what strikes me is this: while the South often boasts of being the first to be literate through missionary schools, the North was already literate in Arabic. The Quranic model shows another side of Nigerian education. It was structured, that is, it had the teacher-student relationship. It was also text-based. That means learning was through scriptures. It was often driven by morality and spirituality, discipline. But it also had its limitations. Like the first, it was mainly religious. It wasn't scientific. It produced scholars, but not necessarily engineers. And still, the Quranic system reminds us that education is never neutral. It's always, it always carries values, carries culture, and worldwide view. And this is something Nigeria still struggles with. What values should our education carry? Are we producing humans of character, or are we just producing graduates with paper? A deep question to ask ourselves. Now let's take it to the third phase of education, which was the missionary and the colonial education. It came in the 19th century. The arrival of European missionaries, the Church Missionary Society, that's the CMS, the Catholics, the Baptists, and the Methodists. They set up schools in Badagry, in Calabar, in Lagos, and later Ireland. There, the goal was twofold. The first was to spread Christianity, and the second was to train literate Africans who could serve as teachers, interpreters, and clerks. So children learned reading, they learned writing, they learned arithmetic and Bible knowledge. This was the birth of the formal Western education in Nigeria. But colonial education was not innocent. It was designed to produce middlemen. It was designed to produce Africans who could work as messengers, low-level administrators, clerks for colonial government. It was not designed to make Nigerians independent thinkers. It wasn't designed to make them innovators. Neither was it designed to make them nation builder. And we still feel the effects till today. Now, think about it this way. Our curriculum is often about passing exams to fit into jobs created by someone else. Very rarely about innovation. It is not about entrepreneurship or building our own system. Well, thankfully, things are changing right now. The colonial education also left Nigeria with an imbalance. Yes, the South, where missionaries were strong, had schools everywhere, and the North, where Islamic tradition resisted missionaries, and because of that, they were left behind. And that imbalance still echoes in our politics of today. It echoes in our development and our unity as a whole. So colonial education gave us literacy, but also dependency. It gave us access, but also division. Think about it. Think deeply about it. A lot of people argue that it is better to homeschool your children in today's time and age than take them through the four walls of the university or maybe secondary primary school just for the purpose of certificate. Some of our graduates come out of school without practical skill, practical knowledge of how things operate in the real world. And this is still an argument till date. Now let's go to the fourth stage of education, which was the independence and post-colonial reform. 1960 came independence in Nigeria. At that point, Nigeria was free at last, and education was seen as the key to development. Parents saw it as a ladder out of poverty. If a child could not go to school, it was a problem. And if your child could go to school, it was believed that your child's destiny could change. The government knew this, so they invested heavily. And in 1976, the famous Universal Primary Education, that's UPE, was launched, promising free primary education for all children. It was a beautiful idea, but it was poorly executed. They had few teachers and not enough classrooms and poor planning. Still, it created a wave of access. Millions of children entered school for the very first time. And in the 1980s, we adopted the 6-3-3-4 system. That is 6 years in primary, 3 years of junior secondary, 3 years of senior secondary, and 4 years of university. The vision was brilliant, and vocational training at junior level, specialization at senior level, professionalism at the tertiary level. But once again, implementation was weak. Many schools lacked the facility to teach technical or vocational subjects. And instead of producing well-rounded students, they produced exam-focused students. Now, that brings us to the current reality, that is our present reality. Things are evolving fast. Within the last 3 months, reforms have come up that have sparked changes in the education system. Let us take us aback. We have the universal basic education, which is UB. Private schools booming everywhere. Online learning platforms everywhere. And even digital classrooms. But we also have overcrowded classrooms, poorer teacher welfare, exam malpractice, brain drain, a system obsessed with certificates and not competence. Every year, millions of students graduate from the tertiary institution, secondary schools. But how many of them are truly educated? How many of them can solve problems? How many of them can think critically or even create solutions for Nigeria's unique challenges? And we have a lot of employers complaining about how unemployable some graduates are. And this is why parents spend fortunes to take their children now as a rescue mission to foreign universities. And yet, the truth is, Nigeria has enough brains to transform itself. But the problem is our education often doesn't allow for the wrong reasons. That is why it seems like our educational system is not working. What is the way forward? Of course, this is why we have a program like this, EduShift, to help you school with purpose, to help you go to school intentionally, to help you align your education with purpose. Now think about it this way. Instead of going to school to cram through the systems just for the purpose of passing examination, why not see it? Why not imagine yourself already solving problems in that space where you are in, no matter how little it is? Apply purpose to those materials you get to read every single day. Ask questions where necessary. Read. We're in the digital age where information is accessible at our fingertips. We don't have an excuse whatsoever to be ignorant in whatever subject that is presented before us or that we encounter. We have these tools to help us. You shouldn't go to school for the purpose of just passing exams. Of course, it's important to come out with flying colors. Nobody's disputing that examination success, is not a goal and a worthy goal. But then, somebody would say, I have lecturers then in school that would say, and then it sounded like a crime. It sounded like absurd to a lot of people. But in honesty, competence is key. in today's world, competence isn't just key, competence is king. Let's just go for this break where we join the kids on the edutainment segment. And when we come back,
Edutainment time on EduShift.
Please stay with us.
Guys, gaslight me.
Jesus. So what's the meaning?
I don't know. Everybody says it. We are yellow now. Me too. What's that? My holiday was amazing. My holiday was drama free. What does she mean by drama free? I'm yelling. You see what she's doing?
I don't want peace.
A guy's gaslighting me. I don't care. How will I know how to light a gas?
So what's the meaning?
I don't know. Everybody says it. Gaslighting is when someone tries to make you feel like you're wrong about things that you know are true. Was a dog gaslighting Aisha?
I'm tired of reading. What's even the point? After exams, I'll forget everything.
But learning is not just for exams.
Then why do we stress ourselves with all these subjects?
I want to be a doctor. So when I learn science, I imagine helping sick people in the future.
So you don't just read for test scores?
No, I read because every subject connects me to my purpose. English helps me explain myself. Math helps me calculate. And science helps me understand the world.
Wow, I've only been reading to avoid failure, but you read to build your future.
Exactly. Education is like a map. If you follow it along with your purpose, you'll achieve something great.
Then from today, I'll start reading with my purpose in mind. Education is not just about certificates, but about discovering and preparing for your purpose.
Welcome back. Amazing performance there by our kids. They're doing excellently well. And if we continue like this, we are not in any doubts that the leaders of tomorrow will indeed lead with purpose and intention. All right, so let's get back to the conversation. We're on this space, number one, to help you align your education with purpose, no matter what level of education you're currently at, whether it's you migrating from, where is you transitioning from secondary to the university phase, or transitioning from, NYSC into the labor market, how to use your education intentionally and purposefully. Now, let us take a look back, or when we look back at the history of education in Nigeria, here is what we can see. Number one, indigenous education gave us relevance and character. Those were the days where children were trained on how to be domestic, how to farm, how to be respectful. All of these things are not cheap. As a matter of fact, it is rare in such a time as we are. Now, transitioning into the Quranic education, it gave those that, were part of that system literacy, Arabic and moral grounding. And the missionary education gave Western literacy. But with it came dependency. Colonial education gave us clerks, unfortunately, not creators. Post-independence education reforms gave us mass access to education, but it didn't necessarily give us quality education. And today, we're still searching for the balance. The question before us is, will we keep repeating the cycle, or will we shift? Ask yourself this question. It is time to be intentional. It doesn't matter how weird. Tell me why a graduate cannot not solve real life problems. That is because you have gone through the 4 walls of the university to cram. You don't have to have 100% knowledge in everything you have studied in school. No. If you can master as little as a 10% and become a pro, become proficient, become excellent in it, own it. Once you are able to solve problems, the beautiful thing is it gives you the courage to want to learn more. It gives you the courage to want to explore more fields. So start from where you are and own that space. Know all you need to know. Learn, read, research. Don't be in a competition with someone that is not, or that you do not have the same capacity with. I think that's one of the things that keeps us where we are. Start from what you have. Start from what you can do. Become a pro in it and explore more path. Now, this is why EduShift exists. It exists for this reason. It is here to push us towards a new version of education. A version that is not about just a paper or about what the colonial leftovers, gave to us. Not about elitist certificates, but about purpose. Education that equips Nigerian students and Nigerian children to think, to innovate, to create, to lead, and to live meaningfully above all. In the end, education is not just about going to school. I like to say that over and over again. It's about preparing a generation for life. Education helps you to live purposefully. Education helps you to live meaningfully. Education helps you not just to live, but also to help the world around you, to help that young man, that young woman, everyone that is around you. It helps you coexist. It helps you transform your environment and ultimately transform the nation in which you were born. That is how you should see education. So, I would say it is time, and it's high time to shift towards education that aligns with purpose. This is how far we can go on this episode. More of subsequent episodes, of course, will be eye-opening for those right steps, those right boxes you need to tick to help you redefine your life and ultimately make good use of your education. Thank you for joining me on this for this long, important journey to Nigeria's education history. That is what we just learned today. I still remain your host, Priscilla Obasi. And remember, every Saturday, 5 p.m., every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. on Global Television, DSTV channel 365, Star Times 276. We continue the conversation. So, see you next time. They told you education is the key. They said, go to school. But why are so many graduates purposeless and jobless? On EduShift, we spot the cracks. We challenge the educational system. Torn between science, arts, and commerce, we bring clarity and answers to your questions, and we light up the path for a generation ready to stand out. Come enjoy discussions with educators, employers, and counselors. Let us fix this problem of career misalignment and help you discover yourself. EduShift, only on Global TV.